Hey guys, my friend Jackie and I recently took a little trip to Williamstown, Kentucky, and I wanted to share with you where we went.
Jackie, where are we?
We're at the ARK. Welcome to my vlog. Guess where I am? I was also excited about these shirts that we got the day before in Gatlinburg that say, "Sisters in Christ are sisters for life." This is a view from a photo area of the ARK. It is massive. And then as you're walking in, you get to first go through this little garden type area, and there's this beautiful music playing, and it's just so peaceful and serene. The grand scale of the ARK is just mind-blowing in person. Made it. We're boarding the ARK, and there is no line. No line. I think that's where we're going. I don't know, this line is too long. We should go back. They have maps around that show you the first, second, and third floor. And then as you're walking up the ramp to the entrance of the ARK, there's these cute little animal footprints. And I was trying to hopscotch on them, but they are very far apart. Then once you're inside, you hear all these noises of like monkeys and creatures who are inside these little boxes. Looking around, it's just insane to have a visual understanding of how it was all possible for all these different kinds of animals and insects and creatures to not only be inside the ARK, but to be separated and cared for and fed. And while you're in there, you also hear thunder happening around you, so that between the animal sounds, the thunder, the rain and water, it's just incredible. Here we are in the bow or stern. I'm not too familiar with boats, but we're in one end of the ARK, and the thunder was so loud, it was amazing. And the way that they depicted how the food and water goes in is so similar to like hamster water bottles and little feeding areas, little tiny troughs for all the creatures. It's just so cool. Right about now is when I started crying, actually coming up and seeing different dinosaurs. As a 90s kid who was obsessed with Jurassic Park, this was simply amazing for me to see. Taxidermy dinosaurs is what I was calling them. Just seeing these really large animals and dinosaurs inside of the ARK, it really shows you how it was all possible. And coming from a worldview where you are told that the ARK and the story of Noah is just that it's just a story, to actually be able to in person see these things and have it explained, it just brought tears to my eyes. It was so amazing. They spared no expense when it came to making this. Everything, every little detail was just so realistic.
Changing the height of a modern giraffe.
The whole experience is so submersive, you kind of forget that they are not real animals, and yes, I may have walked up to them calling them babies and making kissy sounds. Dear God. Oh no. There's There's so much explanation that takes place, even showing the inside of these pottery type jars and how they had a string going from a box in the center out to each one with the insects and these like gross bugs all on the middle box for feeding that would then crawl down and disperse into the other places for the other bugs, frogs, and things to eat. So there was a lot of explanation happening everywhere you looked. There was even this model of the Ark that shows more so what it was realistically like as far as how larger animals may have been on the top, and then medium, and then, you know, the tiniest ones on the bottom. This was a film that was playing in one of the rooms, and I thought it was just absolutely amazing. It gave me chills, so I had to share that. I hope that Ken Ham doesn't get mad at me over any copyright stuff. I don't own this film. There's just so much to read the entire time that you're walking through. If you had never picked up a Bible in your life and you just walked through and read every single thing on the wall, I promise you would have a really good understanding of creation and, you know, where the world came from, a really good understanding of the biblical worldview. It depicts how God made the world, how it was perfect, how there was the fall caused by Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and then what a fallen world looks like, and it goes into imagine a godless world. And then as you're walking, you see these little, I don't want to call them dolls, but displays of figurines that are ridiculously detailed, a little graphic in some parts, but they show you what the fallen world looked like pre-flood times, and it gives you an understanding of why God would have to flood the world, because all of these people completely turned their back on God and were living pretty horrifically. Was depictions of the idol worship that was going on in the pre-flood times, things where people had created their own gods to follow. And we see stuff that was going on, such as the polygamy and sodomy, and again, a little bit graphic in some parts. But it was true to what was happening in these times. The people were just living for themselves, their own lust and their own desires, and for their flesh. They had completely forsaken God, and that's what all of these displays do a really good job at depicting. Have these little areas where you can sit down for a little rest break because it's a lot of walking. Thursday is the day to go. You can be practically front row. Got the whole theater to ourselves. And Jackie and I sat down and got to watch a short film called The Interview with Noah, I believe it was. The Ark is 3 stories, so when you get over towards the center where there's like the up and down railings going all around, you can actually look right up, and I have a photo of that I took. It's really cool to just be in the middle of it all and see the size of it. There was also this animatronic Noah in one of his rooms, and it was interactive, which was pretty cool. I didn't get to press a button because there was another kid pressing a button, and so a little sour about that, but that's okay. He had a good time pressing the button. You get to ask Noah different questions, and so that's a lot of fun.
All that we did. I've been building boats most of my life.
This was one of my favorite parts. It's called Fairy Tale Ark. I wish I recorded it on a sideways view, but I did it wrong. Everyone was walking up and going, "Oh, how cute," but you have to actually read what's in there. This explains exactly the reason I started crying, which is that the world wants you to believe that Noah and the Ark and the flood was some story tale. As it says on the wall, if I can convince you that the flood was not real, then I can convince you that heaven and hell are not real. And it's because the world wants to hide the truth of the flood, because that hides the truth of God. It shows these books called the 7 Ds of Deception, and it's so cool. If you get to the end and you still don't understand why God had to flood the world, there are answers everywhere.
We did it, friend. We walked the Ark.
We walked the whole stinking thing.
We made it through the flood, and we survived.
We survived the flood.
Praise Jesus.
And then, of course, Jackie and I took as many photo opportunities as we could. There's this beautiful rainbow that you can get some pictures in front of. Got some photos in front of the Ark from the outside. Overall, it is a 10 out of 10 experience. I would say whether you're a Christian or not, if you're someone who is skeptical, go to the Ark. Go here, check it out. You're going to get so many answers for things that you maybe didn't even know you were wondering. You were just so skeptical on everything. Here are pictures of me being astounded by seeing dinosaurs. Here's some photos of the artwork that has explanations on it, some biblical information, and, you know, Jackie giving a big thumbs down to the serpent lying to us. Selfie with some dinosaurs. God equipping his people to do his work. The 7 Ds of Deception, which I talked about how is one of my favorite parts. I had to take a photo of each one of those books. If you want, pause the video, go through and read those. It's pretty cool. And then there is the actual door to the Ark itself, and it projects a little cross on it. So of course I had to get a photo with that. And then there's all the information that I didn't even talk about, how it touches on things like climate change and rock layers. And also there is a buffet. Highly recommend that food. Also 10 out of 10. Here's that photo, one of them from the center, and final photo op outside the Ark. So if this is a trip you've been considering taking, I advise going.